Hey, what's up everyone? So photography and video related questions are actually very common on the channel and on my Instagram, which is to be expected. You know, I'm into photography myself, I'm into video and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of you guys ask what sort of gear I used, what sort of lenses I'm using and stuff like that. Ever since I posted about this lens, the 17-28 by Tamron for the Sony A class series or whatever else, you guys have been interested in a review of some sort or whatever. You know, and basically this is my review. Now, this isn't a technical review. I'm not really one to go into super technical sort of information when it comes to lenses. There are plenty of other reviews out there that do that, and I recommend checking those out. This is just from my experience, how I use the lens and whether it's basically a good fit for my projects and stuff. So I've been using the 28-75, which is what's on the camera right now, which is what you're seeing right now, for just over a year now, actually a year and a half nearly now. I've been using it for quite a while, and it's an absolutely fantastic lens for the money and for what I use it for, photography and video. You know, I'm not super professional, like I don't need like really expensive glass, but for what I use, it's absolutely fantastic, and I feel like a lot of people can't even tell the difference, you know. So yeah, I love that lens, and when I heard Tamron were releasing a wide zoom lens, I jumped on it. I knew I wanted it. This one is more expensive than that lens. I think this lens costs around £900, $900, somewhere around there. So it's not cheap. It's, you know, they're still not cheap lenses, these lenses, but they're fantastic for photo and video work, the stuff that I do. Ever since I picked it up, I absolutely love this lens. Now, this lens isn't, I guess, a sort of lens that I'm going to be using every day. This lens is very much for niche projects, niche photos, niche videos. But it's actually very useful when it comes to YouTube. When you're doing YouTube videos as a one-man team like I usually do, you usually have to record things yourself, you know, whether it be camera in front of you or whether you're holding the camera yourself. And fitting everything in frame is very difficult. Also getting everything smooth and you know, not very sort of like shaky is also very difficult. These lenses are what saves a lot of us sort of YouTubers and stuff like that. So I used it recently for my Tesla Model 3 video, and it was absolutely brilliant in that video. The clarity, the sharpness, you know, if you guys want to see that, check that video out. You'll see the clarity, the sharpness of this lens. I'll also include some footage here and there as well. And yeah, it's incredible. I was really blown away by how sharp the images are out of this. I also took it up to Canary Wharf in London, London's financial district, where they have lots of skyscrapers and lots of buildings and stuff. And the lens there just looks incredible. Some of the shots I got, I was really blown away by. I was really blown away by how clear and just how sharp they were. And you know, because it's a wide angle lens, so much fits in the lens, so much fits in the field of view. It's incredible how much you can fit in the field of view. A lot of people are going to be comparing this to the 16-35 2.8, the G Master lens, but that G Master lens is so much more expensive, and it's much larger and heavier too. This lens is actually quite small and light compared to other lenses in its sort of like category and other lenses that it competes against. When it's on the Sony A7 itself, it actually fits very well. It's quite proportionate to the rest of the camera. Other lenses out there, unfortunately, are very much out of proportion when it comes to the Sony A7, because the body of the Sony A7 is very small, but to have full frame glass, you need to have some very hefty, very big lenses. So it's nice to see that Tamron have come up with a lens which is much smaller, but they have made some sacrifices, of course. So the zoom range on this only goes from 17-28. You know, the most common that most people will know is 16-35. So you are losing a little bit on the sort of wide end and then quite a bit on the other end, on the far end. I'm happy to make that sacrifice, mainly because I want a lens which is as small as this, but also still delivers a nice low aperture of 2.8. You know, you don't see many lenses out there that deliver that sort of performance in such a small little package. There's also quite a lot of distortion on this lens. If you're taking pictures which are very wide at 17mm, you will sort of see some bowing on the edges, around the edges of the picture. But thankfully these can be corrected in post. You know, if you're using Lightroom or whatever else, you can correct them quite easily. So, you know, it's not too much of an effort for me, but it does require just a little bit of more work to get the pictures to look right. The biggest criticism I have with this lens is that I wish it had lens stabilization. You know, my Sony A7 III does have IBIS, in-body image stabilization, but even with that on and using the lens at its widest 17mm view, it's still very shaky and it's not very smooth when you're doing handheld stuff. You know, it's not the best really. You know, if you're someone who likes to vlog, someone who likes to do a lot of handheld stuff, I don't think this would be an ideal setup. It works, it definitely works, there's no doubt about it, but you do have to have very steady hand to get nice smooth footage. I think that really is the biggest downfall of this lens, but if it did have lens stabilization, it probably would have made the lens bigger anyway. Just a quick demo of the vlogging scenario. If you were to use this lens in a vlogging scenario, it's currently at its widest setting at 17mm. So you can see everything fits really well in the frame. You know, everything fits amazingly. I've got the camera sort of just at arm's length. Autofocus is also very good on the Sony A7 III, so I don't have any issues with autofocus. The only thing is, you know, because the camera does have in-body image stabilization, but the lens doesn't, so it's still a little bit shaky when I'm moving around and stuff. It's still not the smoothest. I think it could be smoother if it had image stabilization. But yeah, just a quick demo. The autofocus on the lens is super snappy when taking pictures. Obviously it does depend on the camera you're using. I use the Sony A7 III and I found the autofocus to be just brilliant. It's so snappy, so quick. When it comes to video, the autofocus is very smooth in and out. And yeah, I don't have any issues really when it comes to autofocus on this lens. It's very well done. Tamron have done a fantastic job with it. I really like the design of the lens itself as well. It carries on from Tamron's 28-75. It has a nice matte black finish and it is made out of plastic. It's not made out of metal, but it's made out of a very tough, very quite premium feeling plastic. I also love the logos, the text and stuff that they used. It does however have the back to front functionality where the zoom ring is on the front of the lens and the focus ring is behind it. Most lenses, the zoom ring is near the rear of the lens and the focus ring is on the front of the lens. But as far as I can tell, Tamron do this so that they can keep the lens as compact as possible. Other than that, I'm very happy with the lens. You know, I'm very happy with the purchase and it's become a main part of my kit. Now I'm basically just waiting for Tamron to release a 70-300mm, 75-300mm, and then you'll have basically the whole trinity of lenses. I won't need to buy any other lenses really, but yeah, very happy with this lens so far, very happy with the purchase, haven't had any issues, and I can definitely recommend it if you're looking for a relatively affordable, I guess, because it's still not cheap, but I'd say it's affordable compared to other lenses that it competes against. Amazing sharpness, amazing clarity, low aperture, and it's very compact. I feel like it's just a great overall package. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter and subscribe for more.